Have you ever felt it? A certain song plays and suddenly your mood shifts. Your chest lightens, your eyes water. A baby hears its mother's hum and drifts to sleep. A room full of strangers sings in unison, and for a moment they're one. But it's not just music. It's the hum of fluorescent lights that makes your skin crawl. The way an old cathedral echoes, how it swells with silence. Even the buzz of your own thoughts when the world gets too loud. We don't always realize it, but our lives are built on vibrations. Not metaphorically, but literally. Every part of us, from our bones to our brains, vibrates at tiny, constant frequencies. We are, in many ways, instruments. But if we are vibrating, who's conducting the orchestra? In this episode, we dive into the strange and controversial world of bioresonance, sound healing, and the idea that maybe, just maybe, we are more waveform than flesh. We'll wander through ancient wisdom, fringe science, internet theories, and some good old pop culture rabbit holes. This is not a science lecture. It's a question, one whispered through temples, tuning forks, conspiracy videos, and ASMR playlists. And you don't need to understand frequencies to feel them. So let's tune in. Hello, and welcome to the Lil Weird Podcast, where curious minds like yours and mine gather to ask strange questions, sit with wonder, and dive deep into the beautifully bizarre. I'm your host, Jane, the overthinker in residence, and your humble curator of curiosities. I hope you're doing well wherever you may be. As I record this, it's been raining here in Manila. We just braved a super typhoon earlier this week, but it passed now, but the skies haven't quite cleared yet. So if you hear the wind humming, the rain tapping, or the occasional thunder rolling in the background, consider it part of the soundscape for today's episode. And honestly, it's not just the skies that feel stormy. Our country has been weathering a different kind of storm too. One made of corruption, deception, and the kind of greed that leaves us all weary. But I still hold on to hope that maybe we are the generation that finally chooses truth, that learns to pause, to question, to see through the fog. Because deception thrives where curiosity dies. Misinformation, manipulation, illusion, they take root when we stop asking questions. And sometimes, all it takes is a little diligence, a moment to fact check, a choice to trace the source. Maybe then we wouldn't lose so much time chasing lies. Maybe we'd choose better leaders, make wiser decisions, and stop handing power to those who only ever wanted to use it for themselves. We can't afford to keep falling for the same tricks, not in politics, not in power, not in the stories we tell ourselves. I hope that if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you've noticed that I really like to reflect even on the weirdest things. I mean, especially on the weirdest things. So, if you're a Filipino like me, I hope you're also taking time to reflect on what's happening in our country right now. Maybe it's time we finally break the old systems that no longer serve the greater good. And maybe that begins with something as quiet but as powerful as a shift in mindset. Wherever you are right now, whether it's your room, your commute, or your favorite quiet corner, thank you for being here. And let's begin. Sound has always been more than just what we hear. Before frequencies were measured in hertz, before sound waves were plotted on graphs, humans felt sound deep in the body, in the bones, in the breath, and they believed it could heal, harm, cleanse, or connect. Across civilizations, you'll find a recurring belief that the body is more than blood and muscle. It is a system, a map, a vibrating instrument that, when out of tune, leads to suffering, not just physical, but spiritual. Let's begin with one of the most well known systems, the chakras. From Sanskrit meaning wheels or discs, these aren't literal organs, but energy centers. Seven main points that run from the base of your spine to the top of your head. Each chakra is associated with different functions. security, creativity, power, love, communication, intuition, and transcendence. But here's where sound enters. Each chakra is also linked to a seed sound or bija mantra, like Lam, or the root chakra or Om for the third eye. Chanting these syllables is believed to vibrate that specific part of your energetic body. You're not just reciting, you're retuning. This practice has gone far beyond the temples of India. Thanks to shows like Naruto, chakra talk has woven into global consciousness. Kids may casually reference opening the third eye without knowing the ancient way behind the phrase. In China, the system is different, but the principle is the same. Instead of chakras, there is qi, the life energy that flows through invisible meridians in the body. The goal of traditional Chinese medicine is to keep qi moving freely. When it's blocked, illness begins. While techniques like acupuncture and tai chi work with physical movement and pressure points, sound has always been a part of the equation too. Ancient healers used tuning forks, vocal tones, and breathing practices to regulate qi, each organ believed to resonate at a particular frequency. Some even use healing tones to address emotional imbalances associated with different organs. For example, grief is stored in lungs and could be soothed through specific sounds. Now, let's move westward. In medieval Europe, monks sang Gregorian chants, simple hunting melodies that didn't just steer the soul but were said to heal the body. Some researchers believe these chants were built on what's now called the Solfeggio frequencies, a set of tones mathematically tuned to promote spiritual and physical healing. Each frequency is said to hold specific effect. 396 Hz releases guilt and fear. 417 Hz facilitates change. 528 Hz encourages healing and DNA repair. And 639 Hz fosters connection and relationships. Again, is this science or spiritual myth? Even modern sound therapists debate it. But there's something undeniable about the effect of these tones. You feel it, not in your ears, but in your chest, in your breath, in the way your body responds without explanation. Nearly every culture has used sound in ritual. Tibetan singing bowls create overtones believed to clear blocked energies. Shamanic drumming induces trance states, helping practitioners enter altered levels of consciousness. Mantras, repeated syllables, or prayers focus the mind and change its internal rhythm. To them, sound wasn't just symbolic, it was a tool, a way in, a way to align with nature, spirit, or the self. And so we come to the modern metaphors. Raise your frequency, good vibes only, healing vibrations. We often say these things casually, but beneath them is an ancient belief that the human being is tunable. You're not just a static being, you're a constantly vibrating field of energy, shifting with your mood, your thoughts, your surroundings. And if ancient cultures tuned their instruments before a ceremony, maybe we too can learn how to tune ourselves. If that's true, if we can be tuned, then what happens when we fall out of tune? What if our anxiety, our fatigue, our illnesses are just signs of a system that's lost its song? In the next part, we'll enter the realm of bioresonance, the controversial but compelling idea that sickness is a signal of internal disharmony, and that sound might just be the medicine. So now that we've looked into at how ancient cultures saw the body as a kind of vibrating vessel, what happens when we bring this idea into the lab? Here's the basic premise behind bioresonance. Everything in your body, organs, tissues, even your cells, is believed to emit natural electromagnetic frequency. When you're in good health, all these frequencies supposedly vibrate in harmony. But when illness, stress, or emotional trauma strike, that harmony is disrupted. Imagine a violin out of tune, grating, dissonant, slightly painful. Bioresonance therapy claims to restore that internal harmony. Using specialized machines, practitioners say they can detect imbalances in your body's frequencies, then send corrective signals back, like retuning your body to its ideal state. It's like giving your organs a wellness playlist without the headphones. Now, let's talk about the tools behind this. These are real devices you might have heard of. First is Bicom, one of the most well-known bioresonance machines. It's originating from Germany and is marketed to treat everything from allergies and digestive issues to depression and chronic fatigue. SCIO, or a doctor, a device that claims to scan the body's energy field and educate it back into balance through electromagnetic pulses. Healy, a sleek wearable device that exploded in popularity in wellness circles and social media. It claims to balance your energy, relieve pain, and harmonize your bioenergetic field. The website promises frequencies for your life. They often look futuristic, smooth edges, glowing lights, hook up to wires and sensors that scan your palm, your earlobe, your entire body. Some feel like something out of a sci-fi healing bay. Others resemble gadgets you might see in holistic spa in LA. These devices are often marketed with the language of science, spirituality, and self optimization all rolled into one. Phrases like quantum frequency theory, vibrational tuning, or energetic detoxification show up often. They rarely claim to cure, but they do promise to rebalance, harmonize, or support wellness. But here's the thing, most of these claims have little to no backing from rigorous clinical studies. In many countries, regulators have issued warnings against unproven health claims associated with these tools. They're often categorized as pseudoscientific at best and dangerously misleading at worst. Yet people keep buying. Why? Because the metaphor works. Don't we all feel out of tune sometimes? Don't heartbreak, stress, and burnout feel like frequencies gone wrong, low, jagged, or too sharp to bear? And in our search to feel aligned again, we reach for anything that promises resonance, even if it's a little strange, even if it glows. Maybe it's not about the tech at all. Maybe it's about the longing underneath. The need to believe that with the right frequency, the right music, the right breath, we might return to harmony, to ourselves. Somewhere between scientific study and folklore lives the realm of strange sonic mysteries. It's where you find conspiracy theories, anime references, and that odd tinkling you get when someone whispers just right. And in many ways, this is where the idea of bioresonance comes to life. Not in the lab, but in the culture. Naruto and the chakra system. You don't need to read ancient Sanskrit texts to learn about chakras. Just ask any anime fan. In Naruto, chakra isn't just a spiritual concept, it's an energy force used for combat, healing, and even walking on water. It's a perfect example of how ancient ideas about energy centers have entered mainstream pop culture. Lo-fi beats and study playlists. Ever notice how those lo-fi chill beats to study or relax to somehow put you in the zone? That's intentional. Lo-fi music often uses repetition, soft frequency ranges, and low BPMs to create a cozy, focused mood. In a way, it's modern-day sound tuning for productivity. Binaural beats. These are audio tracks that play slightly different frequencies in each ear, designed to supposedly shift your brainwave state. People use them for everything, from deep sleep and focus to astral projection and third eye awakening. Whether it works or not, it taps into that same desire to recalibrate ourselves using sound. ASMR, or Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Whispers, tapping, crinkling. For some, these sounds produce a relaxing tingle that starts at the scalp and travels down the spine. No one fully knows why it happens, but researchers suggest it might relate to the primitive comfort mechanisms, maybe even maternal care patterns. Now, we're entering territory where it gets fun and a little weird. The pyramids and sonic levitation. Some fringe theories propose that the ancient Egyptians used sound frequencies to levitate the massive stones of the pyramids into place. There's no concrete proof, but the idea itself sparks imagination. Could sound once move mountains? Coral Castle, Florida, built by a single man, Edward Leeds Cullen. This mysterious site contains massive coral structures, and he never revealed how he moved the stones. Some believe he unlocked an ancient sound secret. He once cryptically said, "I have discovered the secrets of the pyramids." Sonic weapons. From myth to military, the idea of weaponizing sound isn't new. Infrasound, frequencies below the range of human hearing, can cause anxiety, nausea, even hallucinations. Some conspiracy theories link sonic weapons to crowd control or psychological experiments. 432 Hz versus 440 Hz. There's an entire corner of the internet that swears music sounds more natural, healing, and emotionally resonant when tuned to 432 Hz instead of the standard 440 Hz. Is it scientific? Not quite, but does it feel good to some listeners? Absolutely. Nature frequencies and emotional relief. Forests, oceans, rain, birds. These natural frequencies are increasingly being incorporated into wellness apps because they calm our nervous system, and many therapists even use soundscapes in guided meditation or trauma healing. Infrasound equals dread. Some haunted house studies have shown that infrasound below 20 Hz can create sensations of dread or presence. It's why some researchers believe ghost sightings are triggered not by spirits but by sub-bass rumbles. These aren't just facts, they're symbols, echoes of a deeper belief that sound isn't just something we hear, it's something we feel, and maybe even something we are. And in that space between ancient ritual and sci-fi daydream lies the question we still can't shake. If every part of us is vibrating, who or what is conducting the orchestra? If everything is vibration, then you're not a body, you're a song in motion. Let's imagine for a moment that the scientific claims don't matter, that the machines, the frequencies, the skeptical studies fade into the background. What remains is a metaphor, one that hums beneath all the weird stories, the ancient chants, the tuning forks, and the lo-fi playlists. You are not a static thing. You are in motion, in rhythm, in tune, or out of tune. The modern world often treats us like machines. Burnout is battery problem, anxiety is a chemical imbalance, rest is just recharging. But ancient systems saw us not as machines, but as instruments, a bit temperamental, beautifully flawed, in need of tuning. Chakras, a stringed harp running down your spine. Meridians, vessels of energy like breath moving through a flute. Emotion, the melody your soul sings. If we accept this metaphor, then the question becomes less about how to fix yourself and more about how to tune yourself. Every day, we're surrounded by noise, literal and figurative, so we seek harmony in subtle ways. Putting on ocean sounds to sleep, listening to sad songs to feel less alone, lighting a candle while a favorite playlist plays in the background, craving for silence after a long, noisy day. Each of these is a form of retuning, a way to bring your internal world back into resonance. And maybe healing doesn't always look like medicine. Maybe it sometimes looks like music, or a sigh, or the stillness in your chest when everything finally feels right. Vibration, after all, doesn't just refer to noise. It also shows up in thoughts that ripple into words, emotions that echo through relationships, intuition that buzzes before action. What if intention itself carries frequency? What if your presence, your inner stillness, or your unresolved pain already unseen but deeply felt? This is not about answers, it's about resonance. It's about the idea that your energy introduces you before you speak. And in a world built on vibration, you are not just vibrating, you are vibration. There was a time I used to see things, shapes that didn't quite belong to the light, places where no one stood. As a child, I chalk it up to imagination or something broken in my head. But every now and then, someone else would feel it too. Someone who knew without being told. And that's when I realized maybe it wasn't just me. But over the years, the visions faded. I thought I outgrew them. I thought I left the strange things behind until the silence came, and in that silence came sound. Not loud, not clear, but there. A whisper where there shouldn't be. A shift in the air that hummed like it had something to say. And that's when I learned something strange. Seeing is startling, but hearing is intimate. You can close your eyes, but you can close your ears. You can turn away from a figure in the dark. But how do you unhear your name whispered when you're alone? And maybe that's why so many teachings, from the sacred to the scientific, tell us again and again to listen. Not because there's always a voice, but because there's always a signal. And somewhere inside the noise, something is resonating, calling to you in the language of your own frequency. We may never fully understand the strange relationship between vibration, perception, and memory. But I know this. Somewhere between the things I saw and the things I now hear, something is still trying to speak. If every part of you is vibrating, maybe the trick isn't to find the conductor, but to learn how to listen, not with our ears alone, but with presence, with patience, with curiosity. Thank you for joining me in this resonant journey through frequencies, rituals, sound machines, strange theories, and whispers only we can hear. And if this episode left a lingering hum in your chest, then stay with that feeling because next week we descend into an even deeper state. Episode 4, The Dreaming Brain, Nightly Visits to Parallel Realms. Where do we go when we sleep? From lucid dreams to ancestral visitations, we'll explore the idea that sleep is not just rest, but a gateway to something more. If the waking world can hum with vibration, what echoes through the dreaming one? The Little Weird Podcast is available on all major platforms. Bonus guided audio, The Garden of Still Growing Things, is out now on Coffee Shop. Follow for more curiosity soaked stories and musings. Subscribe on Substack for extras and essays. Support the show or grab digital goodies at Coffee. Links are in the show notes. And as always, keep your wonder close. Stay curious, stay resonant, stay little weird. Thanks for listening.